What up, YouTube? Lord of Houston, known as LTH, coming at you with a video. 713 Space City win the building. All right, so yeah, the Texans barely beat Tennessee on the field goal, but it's Monday, but moving on already, moving on to Thursday night football, since it's a short week this week. And of course, the reigning MVP, Josh Allen, had 6 total TDs, in a shootout with the Buccaneers. Credit to them, to Buffalo for beating the Bills, something we couldn't do week 2 on Monday Night Football when we had the chance, thanks to a missed sack by Toto, which led to the Bucs marching down the field to win the game. But moving on. So, Texans are going to be rocking their battle red jerseys, and I understand, last time these two teams met, Fairbairn saved the Texans on a long field goal, courtesy of Buffalo almost completing the comeback, knowing that there were some key plays away from, actually completing the comeback. And first time Houston rocked their H-Town blue unis, and and I got to say, hopefully C.J. Stroud can play in this game because, yeah, it's a short week, but hopefully he clears concussion protocols this go around because I want to see Josh Allen and C.J. Stroud get it on, once again, if it means running it back. But just mentally preparing, if Davis Mills have to step in once again, unfortunately. So, time to see where that goes. So, what do I think about this game? Well, it's enough that Houston has yet to win a primetime game, having lost both, like the week 2 Monday Night Football and the week 7 Monday Night Football versus the Seahawks, who beat up the Texans pretty bad. So, in the defense, gonna have to and as much as I hate relying on the defense every game, the defense gonna have to end up carrying the load once again. The key for them is, slow down James Cook, for sure, because that dude is a baller. Slow down James Cook and Josh Allen's ground attack. And of course, you want to sack, Josh Allen to the ground because, yeah, he will scramble the hell out that football. Hell, even, launch that football if you leave him time in that pocket. So, the defensive line, and the linebacker core got to eat. Got to create effective pass rush. And, of course, hopefully Jalen Petrie, comes back because they need him in a big way, especially against the run for sure. So, hopefully Jalen Petrie is available to play as well, after not playing in that Titans game. So, of course, you want to limit the big plays through the ground and air. Just got to play smart, Play smart, confuse the opposing offense, force them into quick 3-and-outs, which would help the Texans' offense for sure if they understand how to execute. But defensive execution got to be key as well, Force them into 2nd and 3rd and longs, and just play smart, play aggressive, and do not play conservative. And yeah, don't play conservative on the defensive side. And hey, and Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson gotta have another big outing too, versus that Bills offense. Can't let Josh Allen, have another 6 TD performance in back-to-back games. Because if so, it's going to be a long night for their defense. Now, for the offense, we want to protect the quarterback, whether it's Davis Mills or C.J. Stroud. But you want to sustain drives, you want to score points, establish the run, open up hope. Patience is key. The chunk plays are going to be there eventually. It just, patience is key. And Nick Caley got to open up that damn playbook. Because little to no room for conservative play calls and mental mistakes on that football field. Because one mistake will mess up the team's chances of winning the game. I mean, yeah, the Texans aren't really good in prime time, but if they can find a way to win a game in prime time, against a good Bills team, it all starts with, scoring more than what they put up, scoring more than 16 points. If they can score points, especially in the red zone, you know, it would help the Texans eventually. But, it all starts with, establishing the run, you know, getting Woody Marks and Nick Chubb involved for sure. But it all starts with the offensive line, open up key holes for the, you know, for 10+ yard runs. You know. Tyra, nothing can never go wrong with tiring out that Bills defense. With, time of possession is gonna be key for real. So you want to keep Josh Allen on the field for a long time, you know, keep the Bills defense on the field, keep them on their heels. And of course, the Texans want to avoid third and longs and second and longs. And of course, boneheaded penalties. Can't have that and expect a sustained drive. So, establish the run, convert on third downs, and of course, spread the field. Keep the Bills defense guessing, I believe. Because that's what could pretty much help the Texans. But, you know, it's gonna determine how bad the Texans want to not only, beat the Buffalo Bills, but also move to 6-5 in 2025, either with Mills or Stroud under center. But hey, only time will tell. And if I was to predict how the score would be for the final score, I'll say 24-17 Bills. But as I would say, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. But let's see what happens this Thursday night. Lord Houston checking on up out of here. Let's go Houston Texans.